You have been poisoned. Not with arsenic, not with hemlock, and not with the venom of a snake. You have been poisoned by a virtue. Since the moment you were born, the world, your parents, your teachers, your society, has force-fed you a lie so sweet that you beg for seconds. They told you that to be good is to be soft. They told you that to be righteous is to feel the pain of others as if it were your own. They called it empathy. They called it compassion. But let us call it by its true name, pity. And pity, my friend, is the architect of your destruction. You believe that by extending a hand to the drowning man, you are saving him. But Niccolò Machiavelli, the ghost who whispers in the ears of kings and emperors, would tell you the brutal truth. When you reach out to save the drowning man, you do not pull him up. He pulls you down. You are not a savior. You are a resource to be consumed. You are holding a relentless weight that was never yours to carry, and you wonder why your back is breaking, why your bank account is empty, and why your spirit is crushed. You think your suffering is a badge of honor. It is not. It is merely evidence of your strategic failure. What I am about to dismantle in your mind will feel like a violation. It will feel cold. It might even feel evil. But that is only because you have been conditioned to be a sheep in a world of wolves. I am going to give you a psychological framework, a forbidden protocol, that creates such a profound advantage over your peers that it feels like cheating. It feels like you have unlocked a developer code for reality. We will walk through 5 precise shifts in your psyche. And I must warn you, do not skip ahead. The 4th step is the one that separates the rulers from the servants. The 4th step is the moment you stop bleeding. Let us begin with the first law of the fox, the recognition of the parasite. You walk through life blindfolded by your own goodness. You project your heart onto others. You assume that because you would not exploit a moment of weakness, they will not exploit yours. This is the fantasy of the child. Machiavelli warned us centuries ago. A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good. You must understand that pity is a signal. In the wild, when an animal limps, it signals vulnerability. In human psychology, when you show pity, you signal that you can be manipulated. There are people in your life right now, perhaps a partner, a family member, a colleague, who feed on your pity. They manufacture crises. They curate their own tragedies. Why? Because they know that your guilt is a leash. And every time they tug on it, you obey. You apologize for things you didn't do. You give money you don't have. You offer time you cannot spare. Step 1 is not an action, it is a realization. You must look at the victim in front of you and ask, is this misfortune, or is this a strategy? Most of the time, their helplessness is a weapon aimed directly at your throat. This leads us into the 2nd law, the utility of cruelty. The word cruelty makes you flinch. You have been taught that cruelty is the domain of tyrants and monsters. But the surgeon cuts the flesh to save the life. Is the surgeon cruel? The prince knows that sometimes, compassion is the most destructive force of all. By refusing to punish a traitor, you invite a rebellion that kills thousands. By refusing to cut off a toxic friend, you allow them to infect your entire circle. Machiavelli taught that Cesare Borgia was considered cruel, yet his cruelty restored Romagna, united it, and rendered it peaceful and loyal. You must learn to wield the scalpel. When you deny a manipulator your attention, they will scream that you are cold. They will accuse you of having no heart. This is the test. If you cave, you return to the cage. If you stand firm, you enter the realm of power. True cruelty in this context is simply the enforcement of boundaries without the apology of emotion. It is the ability to say no without following it with "I'm sorry." It is the understanding that your energy is a finite resource, effectively a currency, and you have been throwing it into a bottomless pit. Now, we descend deeper. The 3rd law, the mask of virtue. You believe your pity makes you a good person. I am here to tell you that often, your pity is nothing more than vanity. You pity others because it makes you feel superior. It comforts you to look down, from your pedestal of stability, at the chaos of another's life. It strokes your ego. At least I am not them. This is the dirty secret of the empath. Machiavelli knew that men are driven by self-interest, even when they claim to be altruistic. By clinging to pity, you are maintaining a hidden hierarchy. But this hierarchy is expensive. The tax you pay is your peace of mind. To liberate yourself, you must destroy this vanity. You must stop needing to be the savior. The need to save others is a weakness, a crack in your armor that the arrows of fortune will inevitably find. When you stop trying to be the hero of everyone else's story, you finally become the protagonist of your own. You must adopt the neutrality of nature. The storm does not pity the house it destroys. The sun does not pity the desert it scorches. They simply are. Be like the storm. Be like the sun. Inevitable. Unapologetic. And here we arrive at the precipice. The fourth law. The lion's gaze. This is the step I promised you. This is the psychological mechanism that feels illegal because it violates the social contract written by the weak. The fourth law is the practice of strategic apathy. Most people oscillate between love and hate. If they don't love you, they hate you. If they don't help you, they hurt you. But the prince operates in a third dimension, indifference. Strategic apathy is not about feeling nothing ever. It is about choosing what deserves your feeling. Imagine you have a fortress. Inside that fortress is your soul, your focus, your ambition. Outside the walls are the barbarians, the drama, the guilt trips, the sob stories of those who refuse to help themselves. The lion does not concern himself with the opinion of the sheep. When you apply strategic apathy, you look at a chaotic situation, a friend creating drama, a partner trying to provoke jealousy, a boss trying to induce fear, and you do not react. You observe. You become a scientist looking at a specimen. You say to yourself, this is an interesting display of manipulation, and you do nothing. You starve the fire of oxygen. This is what terrifies people. They can handle your anger. Anger implies you care. They cannot handle your silence. Your silence is a mirror in which they see their own ugliness. By withholding your pity, you force them to face the consequences of their own actions. You stop being their cushion. And yes, they will hit the concrete. And yes, it will hurt them. But that pain is the only thing that might actually teach them. You are not hurting them. You are letting reality educate them. This brings us to the final law, the conquest of fortuna. Machiavelli described fortune as a woman, one who must be beaten and coerced to be kept in submission. She favors the bold, not the pleading. If your mind is cluttered with the sorrows of the world, you are slow. You are heavy. You cannot pivot when opportunity strikes. The man weighed down by pity is like a soldier marching into battle carrying a wounded enemy on his back. He will be the first to die. To conquer fortune, to seize the destiny you claim to want, you must be light. You must be agile. You must be able to step over the wreckage without looking down. This is not psychopathy. This is survival efficiency. You are reserving your empathy for the worthy, for your children, for your loyal allies, for those who have proven their value in blood and sweat. Empathy is a jewel. Why are you casting it before swine? By implementing these 5 steps, recognizing the parasite, using the scalpel of cruelty, dropping the mask of savior vanity, deploying strategic apathy, and lightening your load for the conquest of fortune, you undergo a transformation. You stop being the prey. You become the player. You move from being a piece on the board to the hand that moves the pieces. But right now, as you listen to this, you feel a resistance. You feel a tightness in your chest. That is the programming fighting back. That is the voice of your teachers, your preachers, your parents. They told you that if you stop pitying, you lose your humanity. They lied. It is not your fault that you are weak right now. It is not your fault that you feel drained. You were designed to be a battery for the system. The system requires a class of people who are easily manipulated by guilt, who will work themselves to death to help others, who will sacrifice their own dreams to maintain the comfort of the parasites. You were built to fail so that others could succeed on your back. The system gave you pity as a shackle. I have just given you the key. But the door is heavy, and the rusty hinges scream when you push them. The question is not whether you can open it. The question is, are you brave enough to walk through it and leave the crying children behind? The world does not belong to the good. It belongs to the strong. And the strong have no pity. Most people are too afraid to let go of their pity. They will remain batteries for the system. If you are ready to cut the strings and become the player, subscribe. And to prove you are done being a victim, comment the word ruthless. The game has changed.